Hey, you're listening to Wrestling Roundup, FreeFM 89.0, Grady Hooker. We'll go into this day in history. The Monday Night Wars raged on in 2000. Nitro had Sid and Kevin Nash fight for the vacant WCW Heavyweight Championship, where Sid pulled an Eddie Guerrero to pick up the win. And over on Raw, Rikishi, Cactus Jack, and The Rock fought with the New Age Outlaws, Triple H, and Big Show after the six-man tag team main event fell apart. There were a couple more Raws. In 2005, CM Punk and the New Nexus took on Wade Barrett and The Core. John Cena was a special guest ref for that match, and he abused his power to eliminate both factions from the Rumble. But the anonymous Raw GM chimed in quite early and made John Cena apologize and put both factions back into the Rumble. In 2010, Randy Orton defeated Ric Flair even though Evolution was in his corner. We've got a couple of pay-per-views. 1998, WCW sold out. Lex Luger forced Randy Savage to tap out to the torture rack in the main event. There were also three Royal Rumbles to stay in history. We got 1988, Hacksaw Jim Duggan won the first ever Royal Rumble match that included 19 other men. We got 1993, Yokozuna defeated 29 other men, winning the first ever WWF Championship match reward from a Royal Rumble. And in 1999, Mr. McMahon won the Rumble. Even though he hid on the outside of the ring, he did ultimately eliminate Stone Cold Steve Austin to win the match. He did not go on to WrestleMania to take on The Rock. He did vacate it, and then it got shuffled down to Austin. Either way, it's time for our classic entrance theme of the week, and I've only got one question.
1, 2, is this on?
And you're back, Wrestling Roundup, FreeFM 89.0, Grady Hooker, and live on Skype right now, I got Josh.
Hey.
So, Raw starts off, and Bray Wyatt wants to make sure we've heard the news.
Yeah, a repeat of the promo, the video from the SmackDown the previous week.
Yeah. It's definitely trying to, if you know what happens at the end of Raw, it sort of tells you.
Yeah, it definitely is foreshadowing for the events of the night.
We'll just go through all the Wyatt ones. The opening match, the Usos took on Bray Wyatt and Daniel Bryan.
Not a bad little match to start off Raw. Of course, we didn't get a clean outcome because the Wyatts decided to interfere.
I gotta admit, though, it did look like the Usos were gonna win when they interfered.
Yeah, the Usos have been on a roll as of late.
Yeah. Maybe we got some tag team gold in their future?
Maybe, but I think it would require a title change before they actually change them to them.
Fair enough. But I think it was Brad Maddox and Kane backstage, they argued a little bit, but they set a rematch for the main event in a steel cage.
And you could begin to sense something was off here. I mean, once the cage match was announced, you could start to sense Daniel Bryan was probably going to get his revenge on Bray Wyatt.
Yeah. I think the steel cage, for me at least, was spoilt a little bit. I was sitting on Twitter and stuff, and I saw people who were at the event tweeting about the steel cage being hung up, but it was still a bit there. We'll leave the match till last, because I just know exactly what your reaction's going to be when we get to it. So I'll leave you in suspense, and we'll jump back to the start of the show, where Damian Sandow took on John Cena.
Again, Sandow proves he shouldn't be feuding with somebody like Khali in this match.
Yeah, he definitely should be at least in the upper mid-card.
Yeah. But Sandow here had put on a great match with Cena. And it really, I think, showed off his abilities and stuff. And hopefully something gets going for him in the near future, because this is starting to get irritating.
Yeah. We'll skip the WWE Network. I think we've already talked about that a fair bit. We got Big Show taking on Jack Swagger to assert his dominance.
Yeah, it's kind of weird here. I think they really are putting some distinct cracks in the real Americans here. And really, this was just about the Big Show and his upcoming match with Brock Lesnar.
Although Zeb Coulter did sort of get his jaw smashed in.
Yeah, which resulted in him being in a wheelchair on SmackDown.
So how does a hit in the head put you in a wheelchair?
WWE logic.
Got it. Up next, the New Age Outlaws and CM Punk took on The Shield.
Nobody saw this coming.
Yeah, I was going to lie there and say I did, but nah, nobody saw the New Age Outlaws turning on CM Punk.
This was a great six-man match, and the ending was what really did it, because it brought us back the New Age Outlaws.
Yeah, you know that they're going to stick around now.
Yeah, at least probably for WrestleMania season.
Yeah.
Maybe they're the team that takes the titles from the Brotherhood that allows the Usos to gain them at WrestleMania.
True. We did see as the opening match over on SmackDown, the New Age Outlaws did defeat the Rhodes brothers.
Yeah, which leads us to believe that there will be a tag team title match at Royal Rumble.
Yeah. The Funkadactyls took on the team of AJ Lee and Tamina, but a little bit more interestingly, we saw NXT Diva Emma with her hashtag Emma-taining sign.
Not sure what they're doing for Emma here, but it's definitely something at least interesting, because we have to face it, the Divas don't get much interesting, they don't get much storylines.
They're not very Emma-taining.
This is something random. Yeah, so this is something random that they're giving us from the Divas. I am interested in seeing when they actually bring her out to the ring instead of just dancing in the crowd.
Yeah.
But for right now, it's entertaining and imitating.
Randy Orton's not that happy with the Authority. It seems every second week he's pretty annoyed with them.
Yeah, it has something to do with Cena's rematch of Cause or something. And then Brock comes back and he wants a piece of the title, and Batista's returning and he wants a piece of the title. So Kane says, "All right, you're frustrated. Why not take it out on Kofi Kingston? You've done it enough times. Let's do it one more time."
It's almost like Randy Orton's the champion and everybody wants the championship. It's like we almost need this match coming up that the champion has to be in, and it puts about 6 people in the match at once, so everybody can have a bit of the title.
Yeah, that would be... I mean, there's not a pay-per-view that they've created that's named after anything like that, is there?
Nah. It goes Royal Rumble and then WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Either way, up next, they announced the first inductee to the WWE Hall of Fame class of 2014.
The Ultimate Warrior.
You can't see right now, but I'm running around the studio.
This is a very interesting Hall of Fame induction, because a lot of people thought this would never happen, because they thought Vince and Warrior, who's legally changed his name to Warrior, would never be able to get along long enough to make this possible. To be able to bury the hatchet, to be able to do this.
Yeah.
But as they say in wrestling, never say never. And this is another one of those never say never moments.
But you got to look back. We've seen Vince bury the hatchet with Bret Hart. We've seen Triple H convince Bruno Sammartino to be inducted.
Yeah. And those were never say never moments.
But it does open up the field for the class of 2014 to possibly some other guys that we didn't think would ever be in the Hall of Fame.
It's entirely possible, yes. I think, now that I think about it, I think the Paul Bearer and The Undertaker should be inducted this year, together.
I agree that they should be inducted together, but I don't know if Undertaker should be inducted while still actively wrestling.
Well, I mean, they inducted Ric Flair while he was still actively wrestling.
Yeah, but they inducted Ric Flair when they knew the next WrestleMania would be his last. I'd be happy if they said this is The Undertaker's last match at WrestleMania 30 and then inducted him the day before. But if he's going to stay around for like another 3 or 4 WrestleManias...
I think they're going to induct Paul Bearer this year. But I really think it should be with The Undertaker.
Yeah, I agree with that part.
So I think they should go ahead and do it and honor the greatest big man in wrestling history.
I think if I read correctly, The Undertaker doesn't want to be in it while he's wrestling or something like that.
I don't know. I haven't heard.
Rumours everywhere. Either way, up next, Kofi Kingston gets the win.
Yeah, that shocked everybody. This was a great match, and Kofi Kingston won with the SOS. I mean...
I feel like my notes are wrong here. I never thought I'd print the words, Kofi Kingston beat Randy Orton.
Especially Kofi Kingston beat WWE World Heavyweight Champion Randy Orton.
Since the New Age Outlaws beat the Rhodes brothers and we think they'll get a title shot, does this mean Kofi gets his title shot?
No, because Cena has his title shot.
Make it a triple threat.
Yeah, this was really just there to piss Randy Orton off so he would attack John Cena's father, who was sitting at ringside.
And then we watched his dad go off in an ambulance. Up next, the Rhodes brothers took on Rybax and made pretty quick work of them.
Yeah, it's Brotherhood are keep on rolling. Rybax are spinning their wheels. Honestly, it's probably only a matter of time that they're both pulled off of television.
True. Up next, Rey Mysterio versus Alberto Del Rio. We actually got this match on Raw and on SmackDown.
And something tells me we're going to get another one next week.
Well, they did win one each, so you got to have the rubber match.
Yeah. I don't know what it is, but WWE likes to put Alberto Del Rio against the same opponent like 50 times in a row.
Yeah. Next, we'll see Alberto versus Sin Cara versus Rey in a triple threat.
Who knows? Honestly, I'm not that interested in the feud. I'm not interested in the matches. I like both wrestlers as wrestlers. There's nothing here for me.
Fair enough. Okay, well, we'll jump into the current entrance theme of the week. And although Triple H may be the King of Kings, just remember that Grady is still the King of Awesome.
Behold the King.
And you're back with the Wrestling Roundup, FreeFM 89.0, Grady, Hooker, and Josh. We're not going to talk about the main event of Raw. We're going to prolong Josh's torture a little bit more and jump over to SmackDown. We got the Divas doing some coming up next promos. Do you think that's just to promote Total Divas, or it'll stick around?
Not sure. Probably not. It might be something more that they might do for SmackDown, but it seemed to be more of a Total Divas type of thing.
Although
with the exception of Oksana, who may be on Season 2 for all we know. That may be why she's getting a push.
She could be the new Total Diva, but that would mean that she'd have to embrace the crowd.
I know half the crowd would like to embrace her.
We saw Naomi defeat Tamina and pretty much cement the fact that she's next in line for a Divas title shot.
It's just a matter of when she gets that title shot. But AJ Lee has become the longest reigning Divas champion in WWE history.
Yeah, she beat out Maurice as of SmackDown, wasn't it?
Yeah, once SmackDown finished, she became the official record holder.
Yeah, there we go. I think they won't have the Divas title match on a Raw or SmackDown, so that probably leaves it to go for possibly Royal Rumble.
It's possible, but I'm still on the record of saying there won't be a title match on the pay-per-view.
Fair enough. I think it's pretty... It could get chocker, so it might spill over into the Raw after Rumble. We saw Biggie Langston take out Fandango in a pretty quick, short match.
Yeah, he pretty much just flattened Fandango.
It was pretty simple.
Yeah.
CM Punk, he called out both the New Age Outlaws and the Shield into a 5-on-1 situation.
Yeah, Punk has anger management issues. He should see Dr. Shelby.
Yep, we need to pull Dr. Shelby back in.
Yeah.
But I think Kane's anger management issues might be seeping out from the suit as well.
Yeah, definitely have to see where they're going here. We could definitely see a Kane Punk match with Rumble. It's possible that the Authority may not be happy with Kane doing this, and they may not be a match as well.
Yeah, I think CM Punk will now want his revenge in what is a 6-on-1. That's not very good odds for Punk.
No. But definitely, we're seeing the groundwork for a potential WrestleMania feud between Triple H and CM Punk.
Yeah. In the funniest moment of the night, though, you got the Real Americans who took on the Usos, but they just let Coulter roll down the aisle.
Yeah, that was hilarious. I was cracking up laughing. And then the Usos left him and left Cesaro and Coulter just lying in the corner by the barricade.
Things aren't going well for Coulter lately.
No, he's now in a wheelchair because he got punched in the face.
Logic. Yeah, so we'll jump back over to Raw. Won't prolong it anymore. The main event, the cage match. The Usos took on Bray Wyatt and Daniel Bryan.
It was an okay cage match. There was a lot of issues with logic with this match because, really, why would you stop somebody trying to escape the cage?
Yes.
Because then you could end up with a 1-on-2 situation.
We know the Wyatts love the numbers game.
Yep. And then they would be able to decimate the Uso that didn't escape. And that would pretty much lead to changing of everything that actually happened.
Yeah. Because the Usos escaped the cage and actually won the match. So they won the opener and the main event of Raw.
Yeah, which is huge for them. I think we're going to definitely see a push for them. They're 7-0 so far in the new year, counting the SmackDown match as well.
That's quite good odds. But I think what overshadowed the entire match was what happened afterwards.
Yeah, it really was. Daniel Bryan finally snapped, for lack of a better term. You saw him do the whole knees, raise arms, and then you see Bray grab him for the Sister Abigail, and he goes to do it, and Daniel Bryan slips out the back door. Yeah, you knew it was coming to a head, and then you have him standing in the corner while Bray Wyatt proceeds to berate him while standing in the center of the ring. And then he goes to run into him, and Daniel Bryan dodges and proceeds to lay the absolute beat down on him.
Yeah. Daniel Bryan has well and truly split from the Wyatts.
Yeah. So we're definitely not going to see Bray Wyatt versus Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania.
No, we're going to see that
Rumble.
pretty much earlier, yeah.
So we'll have to see where they go in the booking the match overall. But the real epic moment was at the end of the night when Daniel Bryan was sitting on top of the cage, chanting yes with the crowd.
Yeah, we got about 6 minutes left in the show. We can just sit here for 6 minutes chanting yes if you want.
I think that'd be overkill even for Daniel Bryan standards.
Fair enough. Did I hear correctly that Bryan might have suffered a concussion during that match?
Yes, apparently he did suffer a concussion. Hopefully it doesn't affect his status for the Royal Rumble.
Yeah. Do you think that crowd was louder than the Raw after WrestleMania 29 New Jersey crowd?
For that moment, yes, it was.
But overall, the other crowd still wins?
I'd say overall for the entire show, yes. But that moment, it would be hard for WWE to top that particular pop. Unless Daniel Bryan wins the World Heavyweight Championship at WrestleMania.
Well, we're all suspecting a Royal Rumble match between Bryan and Wyatt. So he could... I don't see him winning it at Elimination Chamber. So WrestleMania would pretty much be his first opportunity. But he'd have to either win it at Chamber or win the Rumble to get that opportunity.
Yeah, and the moment would be bigger to win it at WrestleMania than the Elimination Chamber.
Yeah, so that would mean that you're picking him to win the Rumble.
I'm picking Daniel Bryan to win the Rumble. I'd say he'll enter at number 30 as a surprise entrance.
Okay. Well, we'll have to see what happens, because I think as of now he's not announced for it, and he is possibly busy with Bray, so he could be a little tired coming into the Rumble.
It's possible, but I don't see how WWE can have a proper payoff in this match, in the storyline, without Daniel Bryan winning the championship at WrestleMania.
Okay, well, it's been great talking to you, Josh.
It's been great being on again.
So we're going to rock into birthdays. We got Vince Russo, ex-WCW, WWE, and TNA writer. He turns 52. Tully Blanchard, WWE Hall of Fame class of 2012, one part of the Four Horsemen, turns 60. WWE Hall of Fame class of 1996, Pat Patterson, turns 73. The $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase, turns 60. TNA Gut Check winner Alex Silva, turned 23. And Nigel McGuinness, aka Desmond Wolfe, turned 38. The French beauty Maurice turned 32. What a great birthday present, having her record smashed by AJ. What's up? Well, it's R-Truth's birthday and he turns 42. And the returning animal, the Batista, turns 45. And in the New Zealand news, we got a couple of shows coming up. NZWPW Bringing the House Down 36. It's at the Hitoya Combat Zone, Friday, January 31st, and it's Champion's Choice. So the NZWPW Heavyweight Championship, the SCW Heavyweight Championship, and the NZWPW Tag Team Championships will all be on the line. The champions choose their opponents. Already announced via YouTube, the 2020 Experience I've decided to take on Jade Priest and Hayden Thiel for their tag team championships. Hopefully in the coming weeks we'll get the other two's opponents. And IPW also have a show, The Good, The Bad, The Ugly, at the Linfield Rec Centre Saturday, February 1st, the day after. The IPW Championship will be on the line. Vinnie Dunn will defend it against Travis Banks. And a last man standing match between Kurt Chaos and James Shaw should hopefully put another loss in the investments win-loss column. So that's it for Wrestling Roundup this week. You can visit our Facebook page, facebook.com/Wrestling Roundup Radio, or our Twitter page, twitter.com/Wrestling R Radio, or our website, wrestlingroundup.host22.com, wrestlingroundup.host22.com. We got a couple of articles up there. We got a new series by Josh up there. He's going back and looking at the WrestleMania streak of The Undertaker. And Brandon's got his own series up there as well, where he looks at who he thinks is the next big thing from NXT, as well as our Roundup series, where we look at the week's news in wrestling. And you can't forget that all of the hosts will be having a prediction challenge for the Royal Rumble, seeing who can predict it the best. and the person who gets it the closest will win the prestigious Roundup Championship that I just made up right here on the spot. So yeah, don't miss it, wrestlingroundup.host22.com, and I'll see you next week.